Hi people, I've just seen a video that's rather sickening. It's, I have quite a strong constitution, but there's some things I do find hard to watch, and that's one of them. Um, the videos concerning animal welfare in China, which is almost non-existent. It's from PETA. I'm not a member of PETA, and I don't regard myself as an outspoken animal rights type of person. I'm a meat eater, and I tend to make a lot more videos about human rights than I do about animal rights, animal welfare, but I can't really let this one pass. Basically, the video opens up with the actress, I think she's an actress, Olivia Munn, who's of Chinese descent, saying how awful this is, and then it goes on to show an animal. I'm not quite sure what it is, some sort of I don't know what the animal is, but that's not really the point. This poor thing is being held down and by a woman, and someone else looks like they're giving it electric shocks before it's skinned alive. I want to make a point about this. What I'm going to say in this video is based on personal, direct experience, what I have seen with my own eyes. But this video that I've just watched has just reminded me of that. When I was in China as an English teacher, I visited a local zoo. This was in Yongzhou, Hunan province. The zoo was bigger than I expected, and it had a number of exotic animals, including a lion, a crocodile, a sun bear, monkeys, peacocks. There is an argument to be made that zoos in general are wrong, and I can understand both sides of that argument. There's one side that says they're needed for conservation, another side that says they're just morally wrong. I've been in numerous zoos in my life, but none that I have seen have been as vile as what I saw there. Me and the other English teacher who went with us, we reported that zoo to an Asian animal welfare charity. I'm not sure, based in Hong Kong. I'm not sure if they've been able to act on it or not, but basically the enclosures were extremely cramped. This was hot conditions in summer. The water was filthy. The sun bear was clearly very distressed. It was pacing up and down, panting heavily. The crocodile had died. No one had cleared it away, and I knew it was dead because there was a stink coming from it, and there was poultry in there with it. There was a warthog, I believe, in extremely cramped conditions. The lion, it was a young lion, but it looked extremely badly groomed. There was an ostrich, which clearly had a severe infection. No one had treated that. And there wasn't a single keeper in sight except for the woman handing out tickets. It was, to say the least, appalling. So I have seen this with my own eyes. This is not a case of Western propaganda. This is something I have personally seen. Now, someone under that video that I've just watched, I don't know if they were Chinese or not, but they made the excuse that, developing countries don't have the resources to sort this out. And I've one response to that: bullshit. Bullshit. To excuse cruelty of this sort of scale on the grounds that there aren't resources is not only pathetic, it's actually quite sickening, because that is not an excuse. It's this zoo, for instance, if their problems are financial, if they don't have the financial means to look after these animals, then they should sell them off. There are no excuses. None. Zero. And in China, often one of the stereotypes is that dogs are eaten. Now that actually doesn't bother me in itself, the fact that this animal is eaten. After all, we eat things in the West that in some cultures might be considered sacred. For example, we eat beef. Now in Hinduism, that's obviously, cows are considered sacred. So it's not so much for me the type of animal that's eaten. And I'm not, like I say, I'm not a vegetarian. but it's the way that dogs in China are killed. They're beaten to death. Not just shot, which would be a lot quicker, but they're beaten to death. And you don't have to be a hardcore PETA person to see these sort of images and feel absolute disgust. China is unquestionably one of the worst countries in the world when it comes to animal welfare. That's undeniable. Now, animal welfare issues exist in every country, including Britain. I'm not disputing that. But I would argue that it's a lot worse in China, partly because there's very few laws enforcing this. As far as I know, the only animals that are really protected in China are pandas, water dolphins, I forget what their proper scientific name is. And that's good that they're protected, but the hell with everything else. And there's a huge amount of desensitization in Chinese society. You know, I saw some young Chinese people visiting that zoo, and they didn't seem to comprehend that me and the other English teacher were quite shocked to see this. They were just there taking photos, and they couldn't seem to see why this was wrong. Now, some people might say I'm a hypocrite visiting the zoo, but if I'd never visited it, we wouldn't have been able to report it to that animal welfare charity. I don't know if they've been able to take action or not. I hope it's been closed down. And in a fair world, the owners would be facing penalties, but that won't happen. I've often commented about China's appalling human rights record, which I believe is actually starting to improve, but its animal welfare record is nothing short of abysmal. But it's not accurate to just blame the Chinese government. There is a social attitude in Chinese society, and there's a widespread acceptance and desensitization when it comes to cruelty towards animals. And it's something that is distressing. I don't know what else can be said. Like I say, I'm not just focusing on China. This can be found in every country on earth. But I believe the problem is worse in China than in many other countries. Certainly worse than it is in Western countries. On the grounds that in Western countries there are strict laws concerning animal welfare. So yes, abuses take place, but there are also prosecutions. In China there are no deterrents whatsoever. None. And I've had debates with people who've claimed that this doesn't exist in China. Well, they're lying through their teeth. They're simply lying. Because I have seen this firsthand. I've seen it with my own eyes. This isn't something I've read online. I've seen this with my own eyes. What else can be said? I'd say I hope this reforms, but I'm skeptical that it's going to reform anytime soon. It will come from Chinese society and Chinese people changing their attitude to this. I always say in videos about China, I'm not going to generalize, so I'm not going to say every Chinese person has this attitude. There are Chinese people who see this and recognize that it's wrong. But I'm sad to say, I do think it's a minority. Frankly, most Chinese seem to be desensitized to this problem. And no, that's not a racist statement, it's a factual statement. What more could be said? I think it was Gandhi that said a nation that treats its animals like that can never go forward. I just hope in coming years China has much tougher animal welfare laws. And being a developing country is not an excuse, because like I say, all that zoo has to do is sell off its animals. If the problem is financial, then don't have a zoo. Don't open a business that you cannot sustain. There's no excuse for it. You know, I do wonder, should I have confronted the woman giving out the tickets, but then she's probably very low down the ladder. So that's all I have to say about this, really. I'll put a link to the video I've just watched, but I will warn you, it makes some pretty harrowing viewing. So don't watch the video if you will get upset by that. You know, like I say, I have a strong constitution, and even I find it quite hard to watch. So don't watch it. I'm telling you now, don't watch it if you're of that sort of disposition. But I'm putting the link there to show you what motivated me to make this video. Okay, thanks for watching.